Hello, it's Matt O'Leary, and it's time for a review of a very underrated, very unknown, unjustly so artist, C. Duncan, with his album Health. Christopher Duncan is a Scottish songwriter, and I've been dying to hear this one for many months. This thing's been on my list, and it's finally here. Glory, glory, hallelujah, it's Health. With a name that brings to mind basketball and fairy tales, Duncan tiptoed delicately onto the scene back in 2015 with his debut album, a Mercury Prize nominated album, Architect. This is some indie pop, some indie folk, some dream pop. And that album, Architect, was just so intoxicating, so tender, so charming. You can't help but just swoon at this guy. It's like if we uncovered some long-lost bedroom recording from the 100 Acre Wood, except that it clearly was not recorded in a tree trunk. Architect was so dead-on focused on this pastoral aesthetic, and it featured Duncan's signature layered stacks of hushed vocals. He sings with such a light and feathery touch. The breath support is second to none. With classically trained parents and his own degree from the Scottish Conservatory, clearly he was steeped in the world, in the language of classical music. These pop tunes were written and arranged with such sophistication it kind of misses the mark to call C. Duncan just a songwriter. He was and he is a composer, and he attracts the indie crowd with just the immediacy and the hookiness of his music. And somehow in 2016 he gave us an even more aesthetically pinpointed album, an even moodier album in Midnight Sun, which it gave us a little more dream in the dream pop. He didn't give us anything as chipper, as peppy as He Believes in Miracles. Midnight Sun is so wintry, it's so cavernous. That's probably the best way to put it, is just wide open and stunning. The song Like You Do, come on, that build up, that release. He just infused electronic and classical in this beautiful soundscape of an album. So sparkly, so crisp, so clean, so well mixed that it was hard to believe that Health would be the first time out of his flat in Glasgow and into a real studio. The first thing to notice about Health is that C. Duncan's really brought his vocals to the foreground. No longer are they just inundated by the instrumentals, lyrics a slurring. Talk, talk, talk feels like Duncan stepping out of the shadows of his moody dreamscapes and into an invigorated pop mentality. The bass line is an earworm, and along with Impossible, this is definitely the catchiest song here. Those elegant chamber vocals are still in full effect, but there's a strong influence from his new producer, who's in the band Elbow, Craig Potter. Talk 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 is the song that most excites me and is a great album starter and just gets me excited for what's to come with this guy. And after this snappable banger, he immediately throws a curveball with this druggy, waltzy Wrong Side of the Door. His last album was so consistent, it was so coherent as in a certain style, that having this 1-2 punch of these two songs that are so different and so vastly separated in style is really impressive. There's a strong romanticism in C. Duncan's delivery and his very flowery vocals. There are times when the vocals do feel really saccharine and really sweet and sappy, like on He Came from the Sun. But Wrong Side of the Door is pushing it as far as it can go, right to the edge of the cliff before you hurtle off into daisies and sugar plums. Duncan's lyrics are very vague, very impressionistic, and hard to read most times. But there's definitely a sense of anxiety there, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly what that is or where that's coming from, but it's there on like Somebody Else's Home or the title track Health. The track Blasé has a palpable sense of righteous indignation toward someone. The thing that really gets me and is just strange about this album is you'd expect for a producer, a professional studio, to make things 100 times more polished, 100 times more cohesive than an artist's bedroom recordings. And it is very smooth, almost glistening, but so is his other stuff. Instead, what the new producer's done for C. Duncan is make the sound palette he's drawing from just much more diverse. All of a sudden on the track Holiday Home, we have guitars, we have these heavenly harps, or the jazz combo on Blasé, or the very danceable, seemingly already remixed track Pulses in Rain, which is an anomaly on the album. And it sounds kind of like a strange marriage of Bonobo and Cocteau Twins. There are a lot of songs that have the same percussion sounds as past albums, that kind of just rolling, smooth, indie sort of percussion. But most of the songs are very singular, very unique. It's not a messy, it's not a scatterbrained album, but this penchant for new stuff, for new sounds, definitely makes it a little less cohesive, a little less coherent. But again, nearly every track on this album hooks me in with a sophisticated melody and composition. The song Reverie is a major highlight which perfectly encapsulates the feeling of a daydream. It just has that almost hallucinogenic daze to it. But the plot thickens with that dark and minor twist and chord sequence at the end. My pupils just dilate. And Duncan delivers his most cryptic verse yet. There's someone in my bedroom who says he's infinity. I tried to wash the dirt out, but look what happened to me. Ooh. It might be his most incorporeal moment yet. The closing track, Care, is a cinematic moment of pure beauty and pure delicacy. And it captures this recurring theme of separation extremely well with this very simple picture of someone walking up the stairs and another person falling down. And it captures that same biting sassiness as the song Blasé with that last line, no, I don't seem to care. When it comes to sophisticated pop music with a classical edge, C. Duncan's new album far outweighs Andrew Bird's in my opinion. If you like lush indie music like Grizzly Bear, or something even as rich and moody as Enya, I think you're going to get a lot out of Health. This is a good 8 out of 10 for C. Duncan. You gotta hear this one. If you haven't yet and you really like these new music recommendations, then please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and as always, thank you so much for watching.